The saloon was thick with smoke and secrets, the kind of place where fortunes changed hands and reputations were made or broken in a single night. Cole sat at a corner table, his hat pulled low, watching the game unfold. He wasn't much for cards, but tonight he'd been drawn in by the promise of easy winnings and the need to forget the troubles waiting for him back at the ranch. Across the table sat a woman with sharp eyes and a sharper tongue. Her name was Josie, and she dealt the cards with a confidence that made the other men nervous. She wore a faded red dress and a silver locket, and when she smiled, it was never quite friendly. Cole had heard the stories, how Josie had come west with nothing but a suitcase and a secret, how she'd outplayed every man in town and walked away richer for it. The game was down to the two of them, the pot piled high with coins and crumpled bills. Josie slid a final card across the table, her gaze never leaving Cole's face. "Last hand, rancher. You in or out?" Cole glanced at his cards, then at the money. He knew he should walk away, but pride and desperation kept him seated. "I'm in," he said, pushing his last few dollars into the pot. Josie's eyes narrowed. She laid her cards down. 3 queens. Cole's heart sank. He had 2 pair, not enough. Josie raked in the winnings, her smile cold. "Tough luck, cowboy." Cole tipped his hat, trying to hide his frustration. "Guess it's not my night." As the other men drifted away, Josie leaned in, her voice low. "You want to make it up. There's a job needs doing. Pays better than cards." Cole hesitated. He'd heard enough about Josie's jobs to know they usually meant trouble, but the thought of going home empty-handed gnawed at him. "What kind of job?" he asked. Josie slid a small leather pouch across the table. "There's a man in town, calls himself Mr. Finch. He's got money that don't belong to him. I want it back. You get it, you keep half." Cole frowned. "Why not do it yourself?" Josie's smile faded. "He's got friends. I don't. But you're new enough. Nobody'll suspect you." Cole weighed his options. He needed the money, but something about the job felt wrong. Still, desperation won out. He took the pouch, tucking it into his coat. "Where do I find him?" Josie scribbled an address on a scrap of paper. "He'll be at the boarding house, room 3. Don't let him see you coming." Cole nodded, rising from the table. As he turned to leave, Josie caught his arm, her grip surprisingly strong. "One more thing, rancher. Don't take the money for yourself. No matter what he offers, no matter what you see. It's cursed. You hear me?" Her eyes were fierce, her voice urgent. "Don't take the money." Cole tried to laugh it off, but her warning lingered in his mind as he stepped out into the night. The wind was cold, the streets empty. He made his way to the boarding house, the pouch heavy in his pocket. He found room 3, the door slightly ajar. Inside, Mr. Finch sat at a small table, counting bills by lamplight. Cole knocked, stepping inside. Finch looked up, his eyes wary. "You lost." Cole shook his head. "Josie sent me." Finch's face darkened. "She send you for this?" He gestured to the pile of money. Cole nodded, his hand resting on the pouch. "She says it's hers. 17B2. Finch laughed, a harsh sound. "Nothing in this town belongs to Josie. Or to you." He reached for a pistol, but Cole was faster. He drew his own gun, leveling it at Finch. "Don't," Cole warned. Finch froze, his hand hovering over the money. Cole grabbed the bills, stuffing them into the pouch. As he turned to leave, Finch spat. "You'll regret this, rancher. That money's brought nothing but misery to anyone who's touched it." Cole hesitated, Josie's warning echoing in his mind. But he shook it off, tucking the pouch away as he slipped out into the night, unaware that his troubles were only just beginning. Cole hurried through the empty streets, the pouch of money burning a hole in his pocket. The wind had picked up, rattling the shutters and sending dust swirling down the alleys. He kept to the shadows, glancing over his shoulder every few steps. But the town was quiet, too quiet. Every instinct told him to get rid of the money, to walk away from Josie and her schemes. But the promise of a fresh start, of debts paid and worries eased, kept him moving. He reached the edge of town and ducked into the livery, where his horse waited. As he saddled up, He heard footsteps behind him. He spun, hand on his gun, but it was only Josie, her face pale in the lantern light. "Did you get it?" she whispered. Cole nodded, handing her the pouch. She opened it, counting the bills with quick, practiced fingers. "Good," she said, her voice tight. "Now get out of here, Cole. Take your half and ride. Don't look back." Cole hesitated, the weight of her warning settling heavy on his shoulders. "What's really going on, Josie? Why is this money so important?" Josie's eyes darted to the door. "It's blood money. Finch stole it from a man who died in the fire last spring. Folks say his ghost still walks the prairie, looking for what was taken. I don't believe in curses, but bad things happen to anyone who keeps that money. I just want it gone." Cole's skin prickled. He took his share, tucking it into his coat. "You could have told me the truth." Josie shook her head, her voice trembling. "Would you have helped if I had?" Cole didn't answer. He mounted his horse, tipping his hat. "Take care, Josie." He rode hard for the ranch, the night pressing close around him. The wind howled and every shadow seemed to move. By the time he reached home, he was exhausted, nerves frayed. He hid the money in a tin box beneath the floorboards, telling himself he'd decide what to do with it in the morning. But sleep didn't come easy. He tossed and turned, haunted by dreams of fire and smoke, of a man's face twisted in pain. He woke before dawn, sweat slick on his skin, the memory of Josie's warning echoing in his mind. The next day, trouble found him. The sheriff rode up, his face grim. "Heard you were in town last night, Cole. Finch is dead, shot in his room. Folks say you were the last one to see him." Cole's blood ran cold. "I didn't kill him. I just took back what wasn't his." The sheriff's eyes narrowed. "That money's cursed, Cole. Everyone who's touched it has come to a bad end. You'd do well to get rid of it." Cole nodded, but the words offered little comfort. He spent the day on edge, watching the horizon, waiting for the next bit of bad luck to find him. That night, a fire broke out in the barn. Cole managed to save the horses, but the building was lost. The next morning he found one of his steers dead, its eyes wide with fear. He knew then that Josie had been right. The money brought nothing but misery. He dug up the tin box, intending to burn the bills. But as he held them in his hands, he heard a voice, soft, mournful, carried on the wind. "Give it back. Give it back." Cole's hands shook. He saddled his horse and rode out to the old cemetery on the edge of town, the place where the man who died in the fire was buried. He knelt by the grave, the money clutched tight, and whispered, "I'm sorry. I didn't know." He buried the money at the foot of the grave, covering it with earth. As he stood, the wind died, the prairie suddenly still. Cole felt a weight lift from his shoulders, the curse broken at last. He rode home, the first light of dawn painting the sky. He knew he'd never forget Josie's warning, or the price he'd paid for ignoring it. The days that followed were quiet, almost eerily so. The prairie seemed to breathe easier, the air lighter, the shadows less menacing. Cole rebuilt the barn with the help of neighbors, their hands steady and their words kind. No one asked about the fire, or the money, or the strange run of bad luck that had haunted his ranch. It was as if the land itself had decided to let the past rest. Josie came by one afternoon, her red dress faded, her eyes softer than Cole remembered. She stood at the edge of the yard, twisting her locket between her fingers. "I heard what you did," she said quietly. "About the money. About the grave." Cole nodded, wiping sweat from his brow. "It was the only thing that felt right. I couldn't keep it, Josie. Not after what happened." She looked away, her voice trembling. "I'm sorry I dragged you into it. I thought I could outrun the past, but it always catches up." Cole offered a small, understanding smile. "We all have things we wish we could change. But sometimes the only way forward is to face what we've done and try to make it right." Josie nodded, tears glinting in her eyes. "I'm leaving town. Heading east, maybe start over somewhere new. I just wanted to say thank you. For helping, for not judging." Cole tipped his hat, respect in his gaze. "Good luck, Josie. I hope you find what you're looking for." She smiled, a real smile this time, and turned to go. Cole watched her disappear down the road, the weight of old secrets finally lifting from both their shoulders. If you are enjoying the story, then please like the video and subscribe to my channel for more heartwarming stories. As summer turned to fall, Cole's luck seemed to change. The crops grew tall, the cattle fattened, and the ranch thrived. The townsfolk, once wary, now greeted him with warmth and respect. He found himself invited to suppers and barn dances, his reputation restored. One evening, as the sun dipped low and painted the sky in gold, Cole sat on his porch, a cup of coffee in hand. He thought about the letter, the money, and the choices he'd made. He realized that the real curse hadn't been the money itself, but the secrets and guilt that came with it. By facing the truth, by returning what was never his, he'd freed himself and maybe even Josie from the shadows of the past. A few weeks later, a letter arrived from Josie. It was short but full of hope. She'd found work in a small town back east, tending bar and saving up for a place of her own. "I think I finally understand what you meant," she wrote. "You can't outrun the past, but you can choose what you carry with you. I'm choosing to carry hope." Cole smiled as he folded the letter, tucking it into his coat pocket. He looked out over the prairie, the land he'd nearly lost to greed and fear, and felt a deep sense of peace. He knew there would always be hard days, always be choices to make, but he also knew he had the strength to face them. That night, as the stars blinked awake above the ranch, Cole sat quietly, grateful for second chances and the lessons learned the hard way. He knew he'd never forget Josie's warning, or the price of ignoring it, but he also knew that, in the end, he'd done the right thing. And as the prairie stretched out before him, vast and full of promise, Cole understood that sometimes the greatest fortune wasn't found in gold or bills, but in the freedom that comes from letting go, and the courage to start again.